Good morning. My name is Danny Factor, and for those of you who will not be in court with me today, I'm going to read my opening statement so you can hear why I'm here today. Good morning. I'd like to introduce myself to you. My name is Danny Factor. I'm the defendant in this case, and I'm also an attorney. I'm representing myself in this case, and I'm charged with criminal trespassing. I live in the town of Acton with my partner Nadia and our 17-year-old son named Mandela, who will be a senior at Acton Boxborough High this fall. Acton is a town of 20,000 people, just west of Lexington and Concord. I'm civically involved in my town. I serve on our Commission on Disabilities. Our goal is to have as inclusive a town as possible. I have my own law office, which I run out of my home. The goal of my law office is to represent the most vulnerable people possible. People who haven't had it easy in life, victims of domestic violence, people with disabilities, people who have been subject to discrimination. It's based on the principle that every single person and every single living thing deserves dignity, respect, and love. I have to admit that this is the first time that I've ever been a defendant in a trial, and criminal law is not my specialty. That's why I'm assisted today by Neil Berman, an attorney from the National Lawyers Guild. I became an attorney because for as long as I can remember, I've been an activist. I grew up in New York City, in the South Bronx, in cooperative housing, at a time when our neighborhood was very vulnerable. Crime was everywhere, buildings were burning down, young men were being drafted into the war, poverty was rampant, and the air quality in the city was reported as unhealthy on a daily basis. My family joined activist groups that were trying to create a better future. Poverty could be eased and even ended if we elected a government that cared. Our rivers were terribly polluted, but the science of the time said that we could clean them up. Throughout my childhood, we marched, we voted, we protested, all to create a better neighborhood, a better country, and a better world. And in many ways we succeeded. We stopped the war, we cleaned up the Hudson River. These experiences have always given me great hope that when people care, they can accomplish great things. It is why I chose not just to be an attorney, but an activist attorney. I purposely chose to go to Vermont Law School because it was the #1 law school in environmental law in the country. I didn't want just to make money in my career. I wanted to improve things for people and our planet. Part of the reason that our family moved to Acton is that our town has preserved large swaths of land that we enjoy walking in. We very much appreciate the existence of these forests, not only for us, but for the sake of all life within it. These types of rich forests become much rarer as you get closer to here, in Medford, in Arlington, Belmont, Cambridge, and Boston. Now, I'm here today because of one of those rare forests. It was called Silver Maple Forest, and on October 20th, I was arrested for trespassing on the day that people came to cut down the forest. All in all, there were 12 people over the course of 3 days who walked into the forest to try to stop the cutting. Where was Silver Maple Forest? Silver Maple Forest was a rich woodland which sat in an area called the Belmont Uplands at the border of Cambridge, Arlington, and Belmont. One of the things that was rare about Silver Maple Forest is that you could actually walk to it from the Alewife T station. It was only a 10-minute walk from there. And when you would take that short walk, you would find yourself in a different world of groves of silver maple trees, deer, coyote, mink, river otter, red foxes, fishers, 90 species documented of birds alone, including rare species, hawks, wild turkey, blue herons, swans, catbirds, hummingbirds, goldfinches. It was about the last forest this rich in flora and fauna in Metro Boston. The concern of the people who got arrested was not only the beauty of the forest. As environmental activists, we knew that Silver Maple Forest sits only 6 to 8 feet above sea level in a floodplain. We knew that maple trees store millions of gallons of water, and that once the forest was gone, the risk of flooding to the neighborhoods in Cambridge, Arlington, and Belmont would rise significantly. We knew that silver maple forest stores large amount of carbon in its tree canopies and sequesters it into the soil, keeping carbon from going into the atmosphere and mitigating the risk of climate change. We knew that the wildlife that would die in the destruction of the forest would be part of a larger mass extinction of species that has more than halved the population of vertebrates in the last 40 years. We knew that both the climate change and the loss of biodiversity caused by the cutting down of trees will cause burdens on our human population that are unfair to pass down to future generations, including destroying the food chain, risking the food supply, the very food supply that we rely on and often take for granted, but should not. Why was the forest cut down? Silver maple forest has been owned for many years by an out-of-state Pennsylvania corporation called O'Neill Properties. For 15 years, they've had plans to build 298 condominiums with a parking lot of over 400 spaces, with no low-income housing. Community groups tried to fight O'Neill Properties for 15 years. There have been attempts to communicate with O'Neill. There have been meetings with the towns of Arlington, Belmont, and Cambridge. There have been lawsuits, all to no avail. Every possible effort to use legal means to preserve the forest was tried. Then, in October 2014, we were told that the cutting of the trees would commence. On 3 separate dates, protesters entered the forest in acts of civil disobedience to try to halt the cutting. Consistent with the tenets of civil disobedience, we were peaceful, nonviolent protesters. On October 20th, 2014, I, along with protesters Amy Myrtle, Judy Johnson, and Kathy Roberts, peacefully entered the forest. Standing outside the forest, between 50 and 100 people were in support of us. After a very short while, a man who said he was in some position of authority asked us to leave, and we politely said no. After a little while longer, the police came and arrested us. I spent 6 hours, a good part of it not only in handcuffs, but in leg shackles, before I was released. I believe in democracy. I believe that citizens' rights trumps the rights of corporations. I believe that people have a right to a healthy and safe environment. And I'm scared, not only for us and our child, but for our future grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, about whether the planet they live on will be a safe and sustainable place. And that is why I entered Silver Maple Forest on October 20th, 2014. During this trial, you will hear testimony from both me and one of the other protesters, Amy Myrtle, who's a professor of biology at Lesley University. Both of us were arrested at the same time, and you'll hear us both describe why we were there and our interaction with the security guard and the police. It will be up to the jury today to decide whether the security guard had authority to make the referral to the police and whether I should be found guilty or not guilty for criminal trespassing. I will add as well, and I will not be able to say this in court, that the defense that I've tried to use, which is the necessity defense, which has been used by proponents of civil disobedience for hundreds, if not thousands of years, was denied by the judge. And if I'm found not guilty, I will be considering appealing that decision. But I am confident that after hearing all the evidence, a jury can find me not guilty of the crime that I was charged with. Our people and our planet depend on it. Thank you so much. We have other people here today to speak, and I'm so thankful for all my supporters who are here. And the next person who's going to speak is Plinio DeGoes, who is also not only an environmentalist and a resident of Cambridge, but he's also the Green Rainbow Party candidate for Cambridge City Council. Plinio.
Hello, my name is Plinio DeGoes. Olá, mi nombre es Plinio DeGoes. Oi, meu nome é Plinio DeGoes. I am an immigrant from Brazil, from Latin America, and as an immigrant, as a South American, I'm painfully aware both of the realities of environmental racism here in the United States, but also the fact that the burden of climate change is borne out by those of us in Latin America and South America more than here in the United States. Nosotros somos el partido del futuro. Nós somos o partido do futuro. We are the party of the future. I am so proud to be here with the Green Party, Partido Verde, El Partido Verde, the Green Party. Danny is an incredible figure in terms of standing up for direct action. When we think of figures like MLK, we think of Cesar Chavez, but a lot of times we have people who are local folks. For example, a woman recently arrested in Chicago for protesting for $15 an hour, working at a delivery company. Danny's bringing attention to the issue of climate change and the role of deforestation in climate change. A lot of that is made possible by the fact that we have less contact these days with forest space because of urbanization. We simply don't understand that environment anymore. Silver Maple Forest is a point of contact with forest space in an urban area. It's also in Cambridge and in Belmont, we are a FEMA floodplain, subject to flooding in the case of a so-called 100-year event. But that 100-year event is not going to come in 100 years. Because of climate change, because of rising sea levels, it's likely that that 100-year event might come a lot sooner, and that a lot of people, particularly in Belmont, might lose their homes. Standing up for the Silver Maple Forest is also standing up for people's rights to have their homes and to live in their communities. Some groups, like Friends of the Alewife Reservation, bring kids to the Silver Maple Forest to study ecology. These kids test the water, they invest time learning about the ecology of the Silver Maple Forest, and the result of that is that we have kids who become environmentally aware as far as other issues. So I just want to really thank Danny for standing up for all of us. Obrigado, Danny. Gracias, Danny. O futuro es en el Partido Verde. O futuro en el Partido Verde. The future is with us in the Green Party. Thank you.
Folks, we were all prepared to go to trial today. We were all ready and prepared, but the court was not. They got overbooked, and we've been delayed now, and we'll be announcing a new date soon, probably in a couple of months. So what that does is it gives us even more time to talk about why we need forests. The biodiversity reason, the climate change reason, the fact that forests prevent flooding, prevent pollution, the beauty of forests, and all the lives of the animals and the plants that are there, that are so essential to our existence, because this planet is all about interdependence. So until between now and the next court date, I invite you to join our network, not only to save Silver Maple Forest, but there are other endangered areas of land in the Mystic River Valley area, from Blair Pond, where there is some proposed building that's in Belmont, to the Mugar Woods in Arlington. There are all kinds of ways that people can get involved and make a difference. Ultimately, creating a sustainable environment is in our hands. And if you want to know how you can help more, you can email me at danielfactor@aol.com. You can join our forest list, which is Danny's Forest Trial, at googlegroups.com. Is that correct, Wes? I believe so.
I think it's Danny's Forest Case.
Danny's Forest Case at googlegroups.com. And you can also join our Facebook page, which is called Defying the Death of the Forest. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. And when we do announce a new trial date, please do try to attend because it really will make a difference in our ability to educate people about why we need forests. Thank you very much.